Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're looking at some duocons today. So I decided that I wanted to talk about the Skytread from Siege, but I wanted to make it a little more interesting, so we're also going to talk about the Power of the Primes, Battle Slash, and Road Trap, and talk about both of the original G1 duocons and their most recent forms. So, the duocons, as their name implies, are from two vehicles that combine into one robot. For Power of the Primes, it's a little different because they decided to make each of the two their own robot mode and a combined mode. But for Skytread, there is just the one robot mode. So, let's go ahead and take a look at Battle Slash first, just since he's right here. So, Battle Slash in its helicopter mode, it's kind of obvious that the helicopter mode was their third priority from the looks of it. It's kind of squished cockpit, very exposed comboner in the front, and several other bits kind of lead it to be, it's okay, but it's kind of the lowest priority from the looks of it. There is a little knock here in the back. A lot of the Power of the Primes legends had spots for the Titan Masters and such to sit, and that's where one could sit in this mode. But other than the fact of this squished cockpit, I do like the helicopter mode. The rotor spins fine enough. And the back rotor sadly doesn't spin, but with how it transforms, I'm going to let that slide. So, transforming Battle Slash himself into his personal robot mode, pretty simple. Just lift the comboner. We're going to open up this back cockpit as well. We're going to untab the legs, and then split the arms, pull those out of the way, and a lot of this stuff is on struts. So the leg struts, if we can split those, usually works best to start from the tail fin. You're going to have to split it in half anyways, so just start there, then untab the legs, bring the struts all the way around. You can close this back up for a second as well. Then, these two struts are going to tab together to form the crotch of the personal robot mode. Spin the knees around so that the knees are facing the right way. Then, opening up this chest, we are going to spin around the arms on this little shoulder hinge and position the arms forward. The arms do tab into themselves here. It's just a little tab that easily comes undone. So just folding those forward, folding them back, flip up the head, and close up the chest. And here we have Battle Slash in his individual robot mode. Battle Slash, personally, I like the way he looks in his robot mode. It's a little wonky on proportions, particularly with the Mondo hips, but he's a nice looking figure anyways. In terms of posability, there's a very tight sort of swivel at the head. It's not a ball joint, it's just a swivel. But it's there, so I mean, at least it's not just a blank head. Shoulders are on a ball joint, though it's kind of limited with the fact that the ball joint's coming out from the back rather than out on the side, so you can't get that much backward movement. You can technically still access the shoulders, but it looks a little weird when you do that. Elbows, they bend 90, and they can also bend in as well due to how they transform, but that looks a little weird. The rotor blade is on his other arm, so it can impede a little bit of movement, but other than that, it's pretty nice. Legs are on ball joints, though you have to be careful to not split the crotch every time you move it. It's not the best connection. And then moving back's kind of impeded by the comboner there. Knees are on a very nice 90 there. Could have been more. Yeah, I'm not going to complain too much. And then there's sadly no ankle motion. That's all just one piece there. So, Battle Slash, pretty nice on his own, clearly just made to be Battletrap, but we'll go ahead and look at him in a second. So, we're going to set Battle Slash to the side. Let's take a look at Road Trap. So Road Trap is this very nice little buggy, or I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it, kind of an off-road vehicle, maybe? There's very obviously a robot chest here on top, but looking at it from the front on and from the sides, it's not too terrible looking. I do love this pink windscreen. It screams 80s. And then this front detail, I love the way this looks with just this flat front to it. Kind of makes me wish I had a car like that instead of the one I do. But let's go ahead and take a look at how it transforms. And just so you do know, it does roll pretty well. So not the worst rolling imaginable. So let's go ahead and transform this boy. So, easiest way to do this, come down to the underside, pull these front wheels forward just a little bit, then untab the arms and spin those around on this shoulder joint. They do tab in. Just fold that around and tab it in. Then lift up this totally not a bigger robot's crotch. And these entire torso bits are on a, it's kind of hard to see in there, but there's a double joint there. So that just swings up and tabs in to form the robot chest. Then take the windscreen, push that up, then push the front of the vehicle up and fold the wheels in, and that'll give you the robot legs. Then spin around the head, and we have Road Trap here. So Road Trap is a pretty fun looking Decepticon. Again, it's kind of one of those ones that they clearly made it to be combined, but it's also a pretty fun character on his own. He does make a pretty good, like, just generic grunt kind of character, which I love, because, I mean, you can't have an army without grunts. But overall, the figure is quite nice. In terms of posability on this guy, we've got, again, a swivel at the head, which does end up being the combined mode's waist swivel, which is nice. Shoulder joints, it's on a ball joint, though it's impeded a little bit by the block of plastic there on the side. Though if you really do want to move back, you can open up that shoulder a little bit for a little bit of butterfly. Elbows are on a ball joint as well, so that ends up being quite nice. Sadly, no waist articulation, just with how he transforms. Hips are on a ball joint, so they move forward pretty well. There's nothing in the back to impede this time, and they do make a full split. Sorry. Ooh, really dusty in the air today. There is a knee swivel, and a nice good ball joint bend, and sadly no ankle articulation. Sorry. However, these two do combine, so let's go ahead and take a look at their combination. So to get Road Trap ready to combine, pretty much all you have to do is bring down his torso, untab it from itself, and it splits into two. Fold his arms back up behind, like you had him for robot or vehicle mode. And then I like to turn his head around, but you don't have to. But that gets Road Trap ready to combine. For Battle Slash, it's a little more complicated. So for Battle Slash, we're going to fold up his head and fold his arms forward just to keep him out of the way for a second. Then we're going to move the struts his legs were on like we're going to go to vehicle mode. But instead of folding the legs back up to combine, we're going to fold that hinge down so that it tabs in on the side. There's a hole and a tab. So it tabs in to lock those in place. Then, really the arms, there's a couple different ways you can do it. The way I usually do it is I leave the arms just folded forward. However, if you want to match the way the G1 toy looked, you can fold up his arms like they were for vehicle mode, being all condensed and stuff like that. And you can tab them together in the back. It's a little bit of a stretch, but it does give a spinning rotor in the back, though it also gives a pretty wicked backpack. So I usually just to sort of save on space on the shelf, we'll just fold them up and leave them in a more condensed, but still kind of noticeable backpack. Nothing really around that. Other than that, fold up the comboner back to being part of the torso, open up the cockpit, and fold out the combiner head. Then, if you just plug Roadtrap's head into that port on Battletrap, or Battle Slash, we get their combined duocon form of Battletrap. And Battletrap is quite nice, in my opinion. He is about deluxe scale, so he will look pretty okay next to Skytread, or Flywheels if you want to go by the G1 name. And I do love how they do manage to incorporate a combined color scheme for the two of them, bringing in Roadtrap's blue for the head, and also keeping the fists blue. Though the one thing I will complain about on his combined form, taking one of Skytread's guns as an example, because of this little flap here, it makes it very difficult for Battletrap to hold a gun straight on. Like, that's only barely sitting in there because it's, like, off on the side. So I'll give that back to Skytread. We'll get to him once we're done with Battletrap. But, looking at posability on Battletrap here, we've got a very nice rotating head on a swivel, and there is a joint here that you can make him look down a little bit on. Nothing to really look up, though. Shoulders are on the same joint as the hips of Battle Slash, though now there's a little less to get in the way, so the full ball joint can be shown off. Same with the knees, they're on that same, or the elbows are the same joint as Battle Slash's knees, so that same ball joint, again, works pretty nice. Sadly, no wrist articulation, but what can you do here? Waist swivel, due to Roadtrap's head, that's quite nice. Hips are pretty nice. Ball joint, they go forward, they go back. They get a pretty nice split. There is a thigh swivel, which is real nice. And the knee bend is a little hard to get to. You kind of have to untab Roadtrap's arm in order to bend it. So there isn't that much of articulation in the legs. You can get it to work, but it's not going to look too pretty from any other side than front. All in all, Battletrap, pretty nice, but this was clearly a sort of prototype to get the duocon idea working. And then, so soon after Battletrap got a toy, they decided to give Skytread a toy in the first wave of Siege. And honestly, aside from some detailing on the tank, they really didn't give that much battle damage effect to Skytread. There's a little bit on the sides of the tank, but other than that, Skytread ended up a lot cleaner than some of his comrades could say. The plane mode for his upper half looks real nice in this sort of crimson ruby red, with the nice blue cockpit that just kind of pops. And this gold detailing on the side, it's sort of a bronzish gold, but it does help tie everything together between the red of the jet and the brown of the tank. And speaking of the tank, the brown is real nice here on the tank. I love it. It looks like it's molded out of chocolate. I'm going to admit, I love that so much. And it does have some of these bronze gold highlights to, again, tie it in with Skytread's plane. I do wish the connection on his turret was a little better. It's kind of barely in there because it has to hide the waist right there. And again, both the tank turret and the other blaster Skytread comes with can tab into many of the various combat ports all around it because it was Siege. So there's ports everywhere. The tank rolls a little worse than Roadtrap did, but it's still not terrible. And then to transform Skytread, starting with the jet, I usually fold the wings back, and you want to be careful on those because they pop off easy, but they also pop back on easy, so it's just a little annoying. If you untab the arms, they were tabbed in to 2 tabs right there. Folding the arms out, on these joints on the arms. You want to be careful with that. I noticed when I was transforming them to get them ready for the video, they were a little rough after not being used for a while. So these pieces were folded back like this. Start folding them forward, and then this piece here will push up to reveal where the two parts combine, and these side pieces tab in on the side. And you see right there, the wing pops off super easy, but it also tabs on just as fine. The nose cone of the jet folds down, then this entire assembly it's on will tab into the shoulders, and the nose of the plane will tab into that piece there. Then you can fold the arms, or turn them around and fold out the hands. And again, same deal. And while you can leave the head facing forward when you transform him, I like to turn it around because I like the reveal factor of the face. So that's everything for the top half. Let's go ahead and talk about the bottom half. So bottom half, remove the turret, unfold these two sections, and roll out the remainder of the legs. Fold the front of the tank to turn into feet. Close up these two sections to get the shins there, and untab the feet. And there we have legs. And again, you notice this very suspiciously similar shaped waist. That plugs into that hole that I showed you on the plane, and we get Skytread in his deluxe form. And again, his two weapons, you can have them wield them together. They can combine into a longer weapon. One of the things I like to do is take this combined weapon and plug it onto his sidearm and pretend he has a giant shoulder or a giant arm cannon like Megatron. Maybe like he's a Megatron fanboy or something. But that's just the way I like to display him. But Skytread definitely improves on what Battletrap started. I do enjoy Skytread more just because he looks more fleshed out than Battletrap. He looks like he's supposed to be in this combined form, whereas Battletrap looks like it was a second thought, even though that's probably the first mode they were trying to get on this guy. And Skytread definitely ups him on posability. So the ball-jointed head is quite nice, gets a nice swivel there, looks up a little bit, down a little bit. Shoulders, instead of a ball joint, are on a rotation and moving out, which it works just the same. You can get all the same poses you want. There is a very nice upper arm swivel, and then a joint on the elbow. Instead of a ball joint, there's just a swivel and a rotation. Then the wrist can move in a little bit, though that's more for transformation than it is for posability. Waist swivel, I did not expect to be even this good of a waist swivel on this guy. They managed, again, the plain butt kind of limits that a little bit, but they still got a waist swivel in, which is cool. And just like the shoulders, the hips are on a rotation and can move out, so you can still get the split. You can go around to get behind if you don't pop off a wing first. And you can still get all the main poses you want. There is a very nice thigh swivel here, which I do enjoy. A good knee bend hits about 90. And then there is an ankle pivot, and you can bend the foot down and a little bit up. So Skytread, pretty nice on his own as well. But the reason I wanted to cover these guys together, rather than just give Skytread his own video, is that they are technically interchangeable. So if I untab the Sky from the Tread, if I go by Swap Force logic, if you remember Skylanders, then the Battle from the Trap, then if I plug the tank into Battle Slash, I hereby call this Battletrap, and then plugging Road Trap into the plane, Skytrap, if you will. They don't look as good when they're swapped around, because Battletrap is kind of lankier than Skytread is, but it is technically an option you have. All in all, these figures are pretty nice. I ended up getting Battletrap because I saw Thew Adams do a video on him, which, love that guy. I'm way too small to be giving him a shout out, but he's real nice if you haven't seen him for some reason. But Battletrap, if you can still find him, given that we're pretty much halfway through Earthrise at the moment, if you can find him, he's pretty nice to pick up if you can get him for a reasonable price. I wouldn't pay more than MSRP for him. So, like, yeah, about 25, 30 bucks to get him together, maybe. You might find him for 20, probably. Skytread, I mean, if you missed him in Siege, I wouldn't be completely remiss to grab him, but he's definitely a fun figure if you did get him. And I'm certain he'll still be kicking around in some retailers, if they're really slow. But, all in all, nice figures. Definitely pick them up if you need some extra grunts to add to your collection. I mean, Skytread, if you're looking for somebody to add to your, like, IDW collection, I believe he was part of the Scavengers. Haven't actually read too much of IDW. But, all in all, if you like the figures, go ahead and let me know. Drop a comment. Tell me what you like about these if I didn't mention it. And let me know what I should review next. I've got a whole bunch of stuff on my shelf I'd love to talk about. And then be sure to drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, stick around, see if you might like something else. And have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye.